Okay. Right, I'm going to go fairly quickly, so I hope you can... I'll try and speak slowly at the same time and move fast. But I'm basically going to move through what, why, and how of open government data. First of all, what is it? Well, to be honest, if you fall asleep for the next 10 minutes, there's one thing to remember, which is this word, reuse. It's not about access, it's not about people being able to find out information, it's about reusing information in new ways. And in order for that to happen, we need to move from a situation of legal uncertainty, which is often the case when you go to a website, for example, you might see all rights reserved, copyright at the bottom, and then you might see, a terms of use somewhere else that tells you what you can do with things. You basically often have mixed signals with respect to the reusability of government information. And this is not uncommon and not to be unexpected. It's only very recently that the potential for reusability has become very great. But basically want to move from a situation of legal uncertainty to legal clarity. Open government data is about providing a green light for people to reuse government information without restriction. It's free for anyone to reuse or redistribute for any purpose. For commercial use, for derivative works, it's basically a green light to do what you like, given maybe certain things like attribution or sharing back. Why? Well, I think first of all I should say, for us at least, at the Open Knowledge Foundation, open government data is not intrinsically valuable. Nobody cares about government information for its own sake. I think this should, to a certain extent. The reason we care about government information and reusing government information is the extrinsic benefits, the things which it lets us do. Those things include better public services, improving public service delivery. So, for example, the way in which our roads are fixed, or digital services to help citizens access the healthcare or the education or the services they need. Economic growth, there's potential for innovation, new companies built on top of information to provide mobile phone applications or websites or services. There's the classic arguments about transparency and accountability. There's improved governance, there's innovation, there's efficiency. All of these things I'm sure will be familiar to you. For me, the bottom line is it enables people to make useful, valuable things using government information. So there's new ways of representing government data. And again, this is not a new thing. People have been trying to represent statistical information for many years. This is an example of from the 1930s. There's a Viennese intellectual called Otto Neurath. We can see people. This is our sort of visual representation of UK government spending. So you can see the big grey bubble in the middle, which represents all the money, and then you can see the way it's broken down into different spending areas. And I think the potential is to allow people to drill down into government spending and to see what is spent in particular areas or particular regions, how that changes over time, and this kind of thing. We want to be able to put policies into context. So, for example, this is another project we did recently showing progress towards the European renewable energy targets. So these are different countries, and you can see how they change over time, and you can click on a country to see, for example, primary coal production, or the dependency on energy imports, or the consumption of energy on households or industry or agriculture. There's new ways of delivering data. So, often people don't just want to go and hang around on a government website and find out facts for the sake of finding things out. They want something that's relevant for them, whether that's something about their area or a topic they're interested in, whatever else. So here's another example from the UK, which is a project called theyworkforyou.com, which enables you to find out what your member of parliament has said recently, or what has been said recently about a topic that you're interested in. This is another project called Map Your Mental. The idea is basically, I want to live somewhere where I can afford, and I want to travel, I'm willing to travel, say, up to an hour to get to work. Where can I live in London that will be within my price range and within a certain travel time to my work? I think things like this we're beginning to see. Basically, open government data allows you to ask and answer more sophisticated questions using technology than we could in the past. There's other things like notification services, like what planning applications are happening in my area. Enables us to connect data together, and I think it's worth remembering that government information is not just about government. It just so happens that government bodies and public bodies collect information about everything from the environment to the society to cultural heritage institutions. So this is a very sort of rich government data contains a very rich picture of the world around us, and connecting government information sources with other information sources again enables us to do more sophisticated things with the information to provide better services to people. Also, in order to interpret government information, so for example, spending data, in order to make sense of that information, often you do need many pairs of eyes, expertise from lots of different areas in order to be able to analyze and understand and make sense of it. Also, by opening the information up, you allow people to create things, you allow external innovation, so you allow people to go away and make their own mobile applications or their own sort of websites. And of course, this has been a really big driver for open government data in the US, in the UK, and across Europe, is in addition to the social value of better services for citizens, there's also economic value. So it's estimated that European public sector information is worth 27 billion euros in Europe. And also looking around at where there are open government data initiatives. Currently in Europe, nearly every week or every couple of weeks, we're beginning to see now a local, regional, or national announcement related to open government information being opened up. It's really, the pace is very fast at the moment, and there's top-level support from politicians. Vice President of the European Commission, Neelie Kroes, said in a talk just before Christmas, I've said it before and I'll say it again, yes to open data. We're currently working on a project which is aggregating public data sets from local, regional and national bodies across Europe. We've currently got over 13,000 data sets and it's growing very, very quickly. Last week we announced a competition for people to do interesting things with open government data. There's 20,000 euros and 60 days to enter. It's being judged by Sir Tim Berners-Lee and Vice President of the Commission Neelie Kroes. Also, if you are a public body, I don't know how many people here represent public bodies, but there is a data sets category. So if you have data sets which you are opening up or which you think are interesting, there are specific awards related to basically acknowledging outstanding work in the public sector related to opening up government information. And this is a high-profile competition. We've got The Guardian, La Stampa, the Zeit in Germany as media partners. In sort of core communities of people who are interested in open data policy, this is going to be sort of a big deal. Finally, moving on to how. So maybe I've told you about some of the things which reasons why you might consider doing it. How do you do it? Very quickly, four steps. First is legal openness. So you have to, going back to the green light, people need that green light in order to be able to do things with government information. There's two main options to do that. You can use an existing tool, such as these kinds of things, or you can create your own, like the UK government did. The crucial thing is, if you create your own license, it must be, basically, it must maximize reusability and minimize restriction. So the principles from the UK government said, explicitly, it includes commercial reuse. Anyone can use it for any purpose. So if you're creating your own license, make sure it's open as in opendefinition.org, which is a standard for open data. Technically open. How many people know this guy? I presume most people sort of know, yeah. Who this is, well, some people. This is Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who's one of the inventors of the World Wide Web. And he's sort of spoken about the importance of machine readability. So this is not just about people reading documents. It's about making it easier for computers, mobile phones, and so on to read and reuse government information. So finally, people need to be able to find the information. So if you publish stuff, often documents and data sets can be buried away on official websites. So you may have heard of things like data.gov.uk, which is the sort of UK government's sort of main data registry, which makes it easy for people to find all the open data from across different regions and different departments. The Piedmont region has a fantastic sort of data portal, and again, there's data catalogues popping up all over Europe at an astounding rate. This one was announced a few weeks ago in Paris. Again, so you may have heard that data.gov recently, there were big funding cuts to their sort of thing. Just to emphasize, a data catalog doesn't have to be expensive. You can build a data catalog very cheaply. This is one tool that we produce, which is free. It's open source. It's flexible. It's themable. It powers over 30 data catalogs, including data.gov.uk, data.nord.no, which is the official Norwegian government catalog, data.overhead.nl, which is the Dutch data catalog. You know, the fact that there have been sort of millions of dollars cut from the US government Open Government Data Initiative doesn't mean that this isn't cheap. This is basically, you can do this cheaply. Finally, engaging with data reusers. So get to know who the people are who want to develop mobile applications, run events, competitions. I think this has been a really important part of the UK's strategy, is making sure that you know who the people are who are interested in reusing government information, talking to them directly, understanding what they want and listening to them, and be part of the community that they're part of. And if you want more information, you can find out more on opengovernmentdata.org. We launched a film yesterday, in fact, which tells you all you need to know, probably much better than I can do in 10 minutes. And then there's Open Data Manual, which tells you step by step how to do the things which I've spoken about. And one take-home point, if you've fallen asleep for the last 10 minutes, then just remember this word, reuse. That's what it's all about.
Well, thank you very much, Jonathan Gray.